Hey everyone, this is Brimster, and again, YouTube is broken. I don't know what they've done. I don't know if they're just blocking Firefox and they're saying, you're not on Chrome, it's not going to work. Anyway, I've got no analytics on YouTube at all. And I don't know what is going on. I really don't know what is going on. The stream settings and the stream health is working, but the analytics just does not work. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I am going to play more Oswald. I didn't want to leave it where I was before. I'm not going to try the dragon again. I think that's just broken. What I've done is I've made some modifications to my loot filter, which I'm absolutely going to need to make work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my loot filter here. Oswald version 4, I'm going to delete the filter, and then I'm going to create a filter, and I'm going to place my clipboard contents, and this is Oswald V4 Extreme. Confirm. And this should be a much better version of that loot filter. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to head back to, I think I'm going to head to an earlier level. Let's actually try Black Sun. Like, I'm going to be just doing the echoes, so let's give this a try. Do I think I'm going to be able to do the boss at the end? Probably not, but I might be able to get some gear which I can then put into some upgrades because my loot will do better, and I just want to have some fun doing the game because I've only got a couple of days left, for which I'm only going to be able to play a couple of times before I have to try on before I'm going to be starting a new character. So, you know, I haven't done anything in here at all. So let's go and try and get some XP. The first thing it says is I'm not going to die here, where it's very possible I will. Because this build is apparently terrible and I need to get some new gear to make a better build, but I'm not going to get the new gear to make a better build because I just don't think I am. Okay, so that is being highlighted because if I look at my filter, it's got a affix that I may want at some point, which is level of Storm Totem. Now, it's not one I particularly need, so I'm just going to shatter, and that's not telling me what I got. So I don't know what I got there, which is not ideal. So I don't know if I actually got the affix I want. Thanks, game. But the loot filter, if it's an item I want for the build I'm putting together, it's going to recolor it white. And if it's an item I want for my current build, it's not going to recolor it, and it's going to show. Where was this? Oh, it's in here. And this is just a bad. I know this is just a bad build. I had a lot of fun playing it, but apparently it's just a bad build. and I'm really stressed about the concept of being able to put together a new set of gear for a new build which has the correct stats on it. Interesting. I thought this did show, but it doesn't. Okay. I thought it showed all experimental. I know that the filter for I put together. So I've decided I'm going to play a Void Knight in cycle 1.0. And I am absolutely I've already put together a loop filter for that. So this has come up because of my health filter, my loop filter, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why that's come up. That does not look like an upgrade, so I'm going to ignore it. That has come up because it's got +1 to summon bear. So this did not show up because it doesn't have enough of the stats. But what I can do is I can put that into the forge, shatter that, and I didn't get what I wanted. Okay. But anyway, so now I can open portal, glyphs, gloves, runes, and again that didn't show up because it's not something I'm using on this, which is okay. That's cool. Gloves have legendary potential. Weird. I don't know. Let's go for some XP. I thought I fixed that. Possible I just want to have it on it, but Why did I just... Was that a knockback or something? It just like teleported me off screen. At this level, I get the feeling I'm supposed to have a lot more health, but I don't know where I'm supposed to get it from. Like, I see people, it's like they're running around at this level with like 6,000 health, but I've got health on a lot of items, and I've got vitality on a lot of items, and all my stats have vitality and health and stuff. I really don't get it. Like, I just don't get it. Like, I've put plus health and all of that sort of stuff. It's like, so what do I give up? Do I give up the resistances? I have to admit, this is the bit I don't understand. It's like... Do I take all the resistances off my gear? But like everyone says, I'll make sure your resistance kept and everything. I actually put a build together in one of the item makers that gave me like 5,000 health and, or I think it was like 3,500 health, and gave me a bit more ward and put me at the resistance cap and everything. And I did, like, according to it, like, I was doing no damage, like none. Like, I had no damage stats on my gear at all, and I still didn't have as much. So there's something I just don't understand about the way it works. Everyone's like, oh, make sure you've got this and you've got this and you've got this. I was like, how? Okay. So that I'd lose a lot of dodge rating. That's just not as good. I don't think. So I'm going to say no on that. I'm going to say no on those. So, see, I'd lose a lot of vitality. The strength would be good. Now, I can't afford to lose all of that lightning resistance. So I'd have to put some lightning resistance on. Like, that is all of my lightning resistance on that chest right there. Like, all of it. So... and I'd go way over on the others. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't know how I'm supposed to balance the build, and maybe I don't stress about it and I wait until I'm playing the... like, I just have some fun bashing stuff around for a bit, and I wait until I'm playing the... where did my follower go? Also really laggy today. And I stress about it more when I'm playing the Void Knight. But the Void Knight loop filter I've put together is going to be highlighting my in-game loop all the way through. Very perturbed by what YouTube is doing, and I don't understand it. So my first time through the game I made a terrible build, but I had a lot of fun playing. The problem is I don't know how to get out of a terrible build, and the game does not really help you with it. I could switch to the better build, and then... So maybe the way you're supposed to do it is if I switch to the better build. I'm not going to do it now, but if you switch to the better build, you then basically drop back to say, okay, I'm going to just play level 50 stuff. And I'm just going to play low level until... I get the gear for, and then basically I improve on that build, even though the gear I'm wearing is terrible for that build. And then I improve and just out-level it. That might be the way to do it. Yeah, that's probably the way to do it, because you'd be out-leveling the stuff, and then I'd be like getting mid-level stuff for that build, even though, and I'd be running the stats for that build. And like the stats wouldn't be too far off. Like I'd have the resistances from my current gear, and I would have... So like the itemization I have for my current build isn't perfect. The itemization I have for the other build wouldn't be perfect either. The problem is, the end game builds require specific items. So like it doesn't work without specific items. So I still need to grind for those specific items, but... And this is the problem with most endgame builds, is when I look at them, it's like, oh, without this item, the build doesn't work at all. So because I wasn't grinding for those items or potentially keeping those items as I went through, the build is completely broken right at the beginning. So it's not just, and this is going to be the same with the Void Knight. There are, I think with the Void Knight build I was looking at, which is considered to be one of the like mid-range, it's not even a top level one. I think there's 7 items, 4 idols and 3 other items. It's like without these items, the build doesn't function. And you're stuck playing the leveling build until you get those items. So if the items don't drop, so it is exactly like D4 in that. If the items don't drop, you can't play your endgame build. And that was the problem I had with Diablo 4, and the endgame build locks out content. Now, at least with this, it's just you can't progress. Actually, no, the bosses weren't doable. Necrotic damage, melee damage, that's... So that's got a couple of the stats I'm looking for, but that is definitely not... So weapon is not something I should be caring about. Now, increasing... And helm is not something I should be caring about either. So the helm I've got is good. If I could get a better version of the helm that I've got. So what I'm after is I'm after a helm where I could get better rolls than these stats. Although that's a tier 21 helm with stats that I like. So, you know, that's pretty good. I'm hoping it'll be easier with the Void Knight when I know what I'm looking for from the very beginning. We will find out together. But I've enjoyed this character. Like, if it wasn't for 1.0 coming out in, you know, only a few days, I would be re-rolling everything. Like, I would be saying Oswald is dead, but I don't want to start a new character like only a couple of days before I'm starting a new character. Like, I've only got maybe 1 or 2 more sessions. Like, I can only play this character for a few more hours. Like, I've got this session. I might have time for 1 more session before 1.0 lands. And even then it'd be only a couple of hours, and this session's only going to be a couple of hours, so it's really just not worth me creating a new character. At least I don't think so. Movement speed, elemental resistance, increased armor. Increased minion damage. How much poison resist can I afford to lose? 20. And this is the problem. If I take the boots I've got off, like if I picked these up, I would need to convert that elemental resist into poison resist. And the best way I can think of to do that is this, and hope I get poison, and I didn't. I got necrotic, and they're basically dead now. But it's a gamble. There was a chance. And that's, I suppose the cool thing is there's a chance. There was a chance there. I could have got potential boots that may have been able to turn into an upgrade. So, you know, that's cool, I suppose. Right. Now, if I look at this, it's got the Temper Strike. So I don't really care too much about Temper Strike. So I'm curious what I get if I just shatter it. Okay. Don't leave the circle, but please kill the mobs that are not standing in the circle. Yeah. Tempest Maw. Nice. That is not going to be an upgrade. I mean, you look at the one I've got. It's just good. Braces. Freeze rate multiplier. I'm not using freeze. Dodge and physical resistance. I'm over on physical. They're not going to be as good. Lament of the Frost Refuge. No. Head this direction. My pet's dead again. My pet's supposed to have like massive amounts of health and stuff. Like it's supposed to have huge amounts. Like I've spec'd into it having massive damage resistance. But I've noticed on boss fights it now just dies instantly. So this build just does not work. Moving from one build to another, like I've seen a lot of discussions about respecking. And it's like, oh, it's really easy. You just change it and then you level up the skills. It's like, but how do you get the specific gear that is required? Particularly when resistances don't seem to do anything. I imagine if I didn't have resistances, I'd be dead. But in most games, if you've got resistance, you like can avoid a lot of the damage. If these mobs were doing like, you know, an extra 100% damage from those things, which they would if I was playing a higher, then I would have been one shot. Even with the resistances, and it wouldn't matter if I had like, so you know, the higher corruption, those mobs would just one-shot me even if I had triple the defenses I do. So how does the math work? So I need to have 3 times the defenses. I need to have, you know, 10 times the damage with slightly better gear. I don't get the math. I've never got the math on this. I suppose this is why you get people with thousands and thousands of hours in the game, perfectly tuning builds and then releasing those builds for people to play those exact builds. Because if you spend 1 point wrong, you don't get the this combo works with this combo, works with this combo, works with this combo that gives you the exact, you know, balance that gives you the percentage that means that you're not going to get one shot by everything. And that's just the nature of the beast. And it's really unfortunate because it means that people can't go in and go, oh, this combination of skills looks fun. It's got to be this combination of skills is going to mean that you don't instantly die. And that's really unfortunate because you cannot play a fun combo, you have to play a balanced combo. So it's like Diablo 3, where the sets tell you what you play, the mobs tell you what you must play. You must play particular combos. There is not infinite builds, no matter what the ad says. If you went in and said this ability with this ability with this ability looks fun, but it doesn't give you the exact precise amount of survivability, you are doomed. So that scepter has the lightning damage and lightning damage leached his health, which I think, if I can find my... Yeah, that's the thing that I need to put on. So that is potentially for legendary. See, I was dying to normal mobs because I can't keep my pet alive. I don't understand. I've got all my resistances. Crit strike avoidance. I've got my endurance. So I'm over the crit strike avoidance cap. I'm over the endurance cap. All my resistances are way over. So I'm over what they can be. I have, like, my armor could be better, sure, but I have, like, I've seen people with, like, running with lower armor. And I'm not even at the level cap yet. So this scepter has +3 lightning damage and 0.3. This one has 11, so that one is better than that one. Because that one is ranked tier 1, that is tier 4 in the lightning damage. And this is now dog shit. So I don't need the cold resistance. Why can't... Available to be applied. Strength. So those boots will give me vitality and strength, which is great. I'll lose some movement speed. Okay, not much. I will gain a lot of armor. I will gain damage from crit strikes, whatever. Oh, it's crit strike avoidance, which is not what I wanted. I just wasted all of that. I needed to get that to poison res, which I couldn't do. Because... Okay. I needed to get cold res somewhere. Like on my belt. So I need to get a belt where I can turn cold res into poison. Maybe that one? No. I don't know. I know I'm doing this wrong. I don't know what to do. Wait until I'm playing in... Like, start a new character. Basically, and this is the problem. I've got 60 hours in this character, and it's bricked. Or I literally re-roll it, and with the re-roll, start gearing it from scratch. So I would re-roll the character to the other build, and then go into stuff like backward level 50 or whatever, and skill it up while looking for the right one. I think that's what I would have to do. And this is me learning the mechanics of how to do that shift. But it's very disconcerting to me how there's this concept of, oh, this is an entry level RPG. It's not. It's really not. Because you get to a point like this, and it's like, is the game over? It's like, yeah, it is. Like, but this is where the end game, this is where the real game starts, according to a lot of people. And it's like, no. This is where the game tells a lot of people to go away. because their progression will just stop. And when, like, the build that I'm wanting to play for the Void Knight literally has a requirement that you have 4 specific items. And what if they don't drop? Like what happened to me with Diablo 4 Season 2, where I needed a very specific item and I got to like mid-60s and I never saw it. It was like, okay, this is not fun, just stop. Unfortunately, I'm now getting lots of levels with Explode on Death, and Explode on Death is the thing that... But, I mean, Explode on Death is not fun. Fortunately, there's not a lot of it in this game. But there's been a lot of it today. What happened to all my defenses? So there's lightning there. I don't need the poison resistance. But it's all... Why is... There's a lot of physical resistance on that. I don't know how... Like, these are good stats. The vitality I really need. The attunement is... Like, they're max rolls of really good things. So my chest piece is another one that's really good. I don't know, this is just stressing me out for how to make this work. Like, they're really good survival boots. But I'd lose some poison res, which I absolutely need some of. Like, I can't afford to lose 53 poison rares. If I lose 53 poison rares, I'm going to die instantly. I mean, I'm already coming close to dying instantly. Can I get some more poison rares from up here? Like, would I get enough armor and health down here to, like, take one of these off? And I don't think I would. So this only gives me like 1% extra dodge. So the 18% dodge rating gives me 1% extra dodge. So it's just not worth it. So 18% increased dodge rating is 1% extra dodge rating. There's no dodge on these boots. So I'd lose movement speed, which would mean I would die more often because I wouldn't be able to get out of effects, but I'd gain some strength, vitality, armor, and health. But I'd have to lose vitality, armor, and health to put them on. It just doesn't work. I'm obviously not understanding some stuff. I've watched videos on offense stats and everything, and they just and all sorts of stuff, and they just don't explain how you balance this. Like every video I watched a whole bunch of stuff, and it was like, oh, make sure you increase this, 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 you increase this. How? There's a limited bucket. There's a limited bucket. How do you do that? Because how do I, like, because of the way these are balanced, I can't just take 38 cold res off because then I won't do it. So I can't go here and I can't like just, like I could take the 16 off this, but in order to do that, I need to replace the ring with something that isn't going to completely gimp me. And if I put this on, like, this is going to give me stuff I don't need. So taking this off, I would lose movement speed, which I need. I would lose attunement, which I need. I could replace it. So looking at this, I could replace it with extra physical damage, so I could get the physical damage back up. Although this is at tier 3, so I could re-roll that and potentially get more. So that would be good because I got some forging potential. I would gain elemental resistance. I could possibly re-roll that to something I need. I don't need the dodge, so I could possibly re-roll the elemental resistance to health, and I could possibly get some attunement on it. So I could possibly make this a semi-replacement to this without the poison res, but it'd give me the elemental res, but then I'd need to figure out where to get the elemental res off to try and get the balancing duff, and you need to replace like a whole bunch of different things in a level. But while I'm doing that, I'm not actually improving anything. Like, if I was to do that... So what I'm trying to do here is... put attunement here. Which I can't apply. I can't put attunement on it. Oh, there's not... attunement. And that bricked it at a low level ring because the glyphs of hope, the 25% chance never procced in all of those. So I would get 47 dodge rating instead of 51 health, 13 elemental resistance instead of that. I'd get a little bit more physical, but I'd lose a bunch of attunement. Now I'd get some ward retention, but on this build I'm not generating, and I'd get necrotic resistance, which I don't need, and I'd lose the movement speed. It's just not worth it. I don't follow. Now this would give me fire and physical resistance, which would allow me to take fire off from somewhere else, but I'd lose the poison. And how do you do the balancing? You can't just swap out an item, because when you swap out an item, you just start insta-dying. Now that looks, I mean, look at that. 2 legendary potential. That is potentially really good. Don't know. Health, physical damage from minions. I mean, is that an upgrade for that? You can summon wolves. I don't... I think I'm just going to have to wait until my... I think I'm just going to have to wait until I'm playing the next... I'm just going to have to wait until I'm playing the next character, because this is just not working. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to try and figure out what's going wrong here. I think I'm just going to leave it, and I'm going to come back with the Void Knight and start from scratch, because this is just not working. I've really enjoyed playing the character right up until the point where I got to the 100 content, and it's just not working. It's like, I played a leveling build and I didn't get the items I needed to play the end game build that I had in mind, so I can't play the end game build, so it's over. Is the feeling I'm getting from this. And if I had more time, I would probably spec into that build, go back and then run the low level content until I could get it, or until I got items that were close, and then I would improve. And because I was playing a build that had more survivability, which someone else designed. Designing your own builds is just a doom here. unless you want to spend hundreds of hours doing it, as far as I can tell. More time designing a build than you do playing the game. Then you can roll through, because as I said, the build that one of the builds I looked at, which I'm not going to play, but one of the builds I looked at, 2 people with a combined total playtime of over 6,000 hours in the game, they spent 3 days working together to make one build. So if you think about that, that is experts in the game taking 3 days to make a build that they considered was viable. Which means, just, you think about that, and it's just like, how does someone who comes in fresh make a build that is in-game viable? It is not possible. You just don't do it. They spent 3 days refining the build to make it in-game viable. If someone if 2 people with a combined over 6,000 hours in the game can't just go click, 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 this build is in-game viable in like an hour, the game is intractable. The game is intractable for anyone with less than like 1,000 hours in it. So you need to follow a build guide. There is no other option, which I'm prepared to do. I have no problem with that. Find something that looks cool and follow that. And then while you're leveling, you need to be lucky with your drops. Otherwise, abandon. Completely abandon. You will not be able to progress into endgame unless you are lucky with the drops. With this is exactly like Diablo 4. Because it's not just, oh, I can recraft the items to be better. You can absolutely do that. But you need to have the right items to be able to recraft for that. This is more forgiving than Diablo 4, apart from the fact that a lot of the builds require very specific affixes on idols or on things like helms or some legendaries. So, and you need them to play those endgame builds, and a lot of those items only drop in endgame. So it's a problem. And if you respec at the end of your leveling to another build to get those items, then you still need to get those items. It's incredibly tough. I would love to know what the official response to this is. Like, what do you do when you get to a point like this where your build is bricked and you cannot get upgrades? Like, I've literally have my loot filter set here to highlight multiple items. Like, this is a new loot filter, even though I did the admin session to rebuild all of this, to highlight specific items for a couple of different builds, and I've seen none of these. I don't know what to do. It's a brick. Like, you can brick your character, which is not ideal. Like, I suppose the answer is I go back and I go play those low levels again with this character and try and get items that are close and go back through, which is okay. But when everyone, literally all of the guides are turning around and saying, oh, you know, you want to get to corruption 200 as fast as possible, and I can't do corruption 100 with a build that is mostly, like, not completely, but like 80% from a guide. What? Yeah, it's really weird. We'll wait and see what 1.0 brings. Hopefully it's more forgiving and there's balancing done to make this work better. We shall see. I'm looking forward to 1.0. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you on the other side of the release of the game. Bye, everyone.